Alright then, let's get in.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Hey friends, what's poppin'? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. Genuinely do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily, that's right, daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea across the world of football media, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly asking for yours. Today we're reflecting on Chelsea, looking at a left back, another failed striker loan, maybe, and of course a lot of headlines are dominating regarding Mason Mount, his move to Manchester United. I did want to speak about this a little bit, reference an article. It was a massive move, a huge story, and Kai Havertz is eventually finding his way at Arsenal. So what's going on with Mount, this injury, and that Manchester United transfer? Was it not for footballing reasons? Anyway guys, thanks for joining me. Strap yourselves in if you want to support the content. Easy. Simply like and subscribe. Thanks for doing that, mate. Why not share the video with all your family as well? They might like my beautiful face. Possibly. But then again, probably not. Alright then, that being said, let's get into today's content. We'll leave Mason Mount for last. First of all, let's talk about Armando Broja. Fulham are set to trigger the £4 million payment to Chelsea for Armando Broja under the terms of the January loan, unless he starts every single remaining game this season. Yuck. This was a tough one. It was a free loan to Fulham, provided he starts and plays loads of games. There will only be a £4 million loan fee should he not start X amount of games. And let's be real, the fact how he hasn't really been utilised by Marco Silva so far, you can doubt the concept of him suddenly starting him for every single game until the end of the season. So Chelsea will be getting a £4 million loan fee for Armando Broja. I mean, we do need money, so another £4 million in the books is good, but we also need the development of our young striker. Who knows, maybe this will offer the best of both worlds. Maybe we get the £4 million and he gets a few starts and a few goals and everything works out okay. Right? Speaking of failed striker loans, of course, David Fofana had a rough time over in Union Berlin, but it's going really well for him at Burnley at the moment. I think he's got 3 Premier League goals in 3 starts, potentially, maybe 4 starts, but he's got 3 goals and an assist. At the very least, he's got a goal involvement per start for Burnley, which is mad if you consider how bad Burnley have been this season. And yes, of course, one of his goals was an absolute ripper, a postage stamp long-range rocket golazzo. Nice to see you can do it. I don't think personally we're going to see him in this Chelsea team anytime soon. I think both Broja and Fofana will be away from Chelsea next season. I think Fofana might get another loan, a good European loan, and develop well. I think Broja might be sold. I just got that feeling. He's an academy graduate. He's going to be straight up peas on the books. And I think Chelsea, because he does also have loads of admirers, Armando Broja, despite not really playing football in a long time, people like how he's built and how he plays. He will have people out there that want to purchase him. So I have a feeling he'll be sold. Nico Jackson is impressing and impressing. I wonder if he'll impress to the point where he's going to be Chelsea's starting striker next season. I'm not so sure, but certainly a really, really useful player, Nico Jackson. A very high quality second striker that's good and developing as a young player and also versatile, can play on the wings as well. So yeah, pretty happy with Nico Jackson. Let me know what you think about the striker situation and let's move on. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Chelsea will look at young and talented left backs in the summer transfer window. Yeah, this is really, really exciting and positive actually, and I think this is largely down to the huge success that Malo Gusto has been. I think Malo Gusto cost Chelsea like 20 million quid and he was 19 when we purchased him. I would quite comfortably say Malo Gusto is the best U21 right back in world football. So to get him for 25 million quid, it's pretty exceptional really. Plus scope for development and getting better as a player. Incredible scenes. Of course, let's not forget how good Reece James is. Reece James, if fit, and that's a big if, he's Chelsea's starting right back and possibly the best right back in the world. And of course, Chelsea's captain. But to have an amazing and good challenging deputy like Malo Gusto like that is an incredible thing. We could also see them both on the pitch together, whether it's Reece James playing right centre back in a free, Reece James playing in the midfield. Of course, we have seen both Malo and Reece play left back. So maybe one plays right back, one plays left back, and who knows, maybe they could even switch in the game. That would be really interesting, actually. So to do that with the left back position is good. In fact, it's hella important at the moment, with Ian Matson almost definitely going to be sold in the summer for financial reasons, a lot of pure profit, and Chelsea might try and sell Marc Cucurella. Of course, that's probably a big loss. They'll be looking at, again, vice-captain and first choice Ben Chilwell, who granted has been not in good form of late, but he's 25, 26, 27. He's a senior player. We know how good he could be. This guy has proven he can be a champion of Europe with amazing performances. He's a goal scorer. He's dynamic. I'm not giving up on Ben Chilwell as Chelsea's starting left back. I think when we have a settled team, he can prove to be excellent. So maybe another deputy for him, something similar in the Malo Gusto mould for the left-hand side. Personally, I see that as good news. Maybe a left back, maybe a striker, and hopefully no breaches of financial fair play come the summer. So do let me know what you think about that left back situation and that story. Start up the conversation down in the comment section below. And we are going to jump over now to an article from the Mail. I apologise, they are citing the Manchester Evening News, but it is about Mason Mount. Before we jump in really quickly though, I just want to preface this segment because I do think it's really interesting. Mason Mount was the poster boy of Chelsea. Look, he's not a Chelsea fan, he's a Pompey fan. His old man is a Manchester United fan, there's a link there. But it was an incredibly huge, high-profile story. Of course, he was £60 million pure profit on the books, 55 going up to 60. And that was a huge story. Kai Havertz went for £68 million. Now, Havertz is doing well for Arsenal now. It took a little while to get going, but I think he's doing well. He scored in the shootout, scored a few goals recently. He scored the winner for them, was it against Brentford? So a few high-profile goals. Granted, he's now a goal machine, but he never has been in England. And personally, I wouldn't want to buy Kai Havertz for 68 million quid. But when you've got a fully functioning Arsenal team that is pretty good and is top of the Premier League, that kind of purchase doesn't hurt you as much. And you'd probably think, yeah, well, I'd rather he was 40 million or whatever, But it's not that bad. He's sort of helping them out a bit. And he's still young, Kai. Granted, he's nowhere near the value of Cole Palmer, who was £25 million less, a lot younger, and a lot better. But enough about Kai Havertz. I do want to speak about Mason Mount because he's like Manchester United's Romeo Lavia, the player that doesn't really exist. And it's such an interesting thing. So I want to cite this article, read some information from the Mail, and then talk about it a little bit more. Mason Mount's move to Manchester United hasn't gone to plan for either party so far. And according to a report, the deal was not for, quote, football reasons. Mount swapped Chelsea for Man United in a £60 million transfer last summer after the two parties failed to reach an agreement to extend his stay during projected talks. The England international was highly sought after, with both Arsenal and Liverpool among his suitors before he opted to join Manchester United in a 5-year deal worth £250,000 a week contract with an option for another year. The 25-year-old was Erik ten Hag's first signing of last summer, but he has played a bit part role after several injury setbacks that restricted him to just 12 appearances in all competitions, his last coming against Luton in November before he was injured in training. And according to the Manchester Evening News, a current teammate has caused doubt on the motive behind the move. Ooh. The report that a source close to the United players claims the deal was not for football reasons. Upon moving north, Mount admitted it was never easy leaving the club where he grew up, after the boyhood Portsmouth fan came through the ranks at Chelsea from the age of 6, spending 18 years there. So let's stop and just think about this for a moment. Not footballing reasons, a teammate from Manchester United is suggesting that, which would mean financial reasons. £250,000 per week. Now, listen, we know the story at Chelsea is a little bit complex. I do have some sympathy for Mason Mount, and John Terry, of course, has come out publicly and defended him, saying that everyone doesn't know the whole story. Apparently, he had a good offer on the table, but this was before the sporting directors came in and created a incentive-based salary model. Of course, Reece James got in, he got a high salary. We all know people like Raheem Sterling's on over 300k a week, which is mental. Well, it's not mental for him, like Sterling could have got 300k a week at another club. It's not like we're mental, but we invested in him, was the wrong decision. But, in the same way, Mason Mount was a full England international, a Champions League winner, trending upwards. His teammate, Raheem Sterling, was on 250k a week. Over 300k a week. He was probably thinking, well, I deserve 200k a week or something like that. I think he did have a deal on the table from Chelsea that was then taken away. Chelsea saw perhaps the potential of how much money he could generate, but also saw value in other players that could do what he does for Chelsea. I mean, he's a sort of attacking number 8, sort of a number 10 Mason Mount, isn't he? If you look at the players we have in that position now, like, if you look at Conor Gallagher's better at the sort of pressing and defensive number 10 side of Mason Mount, and Cole Palmer is definitely better than all the offensive metrics than Mason Mount as that sort of number 10. I know he starts on the right, but he himself says he likes to play number 10. Well, Mason Mount has started on the right sometimes as well, but do you see what I mean? Look, I don't want to slag off Mason Mount, and to be honest, it's okay to go somewhere for money, but personally, I don't have any love for him anymore. I'm very thankful for his time at Chelsea because he was so important in our Champions League run, but I don't look at him, all doughy-eyed like, Mason Mount, love you, mate. Not really. He's a Portsmouth fan that sort of came through the ranks at Chelsea, that for one reason or another, even if he had good valid reasons, he defected to the enemy. I don't care. I know Man United aren't Tottenham, but they're still Man United. Chelsea hate Man United, come on. He went from south to north, blue to red, and I've got no time for that. He's a good lad and I wish him well. In the same way I wish Declan Rice well. Okay, so Declan Rice, also Chelsea Academy, though we turfed him out, he is a Chelsea fan, and he's gone to Arsenal. And, I don't want him to win stuff with Arsenal, but he's a good guy. Both Mason Mount and Declan Rice are, well brought up, good young men. And that is important in a world of absolute knobheads in footballers. Yeah, you hear stories all the time. They sort of grow up and have this weird idea, messiah complexes, or they're not balanced and didn't have proper parenting. These kids are good kids, or men now. Maybe he chased the bag, took the Man United money, whatever. I know there's chance taking the mick out of him from Chelsea fans already, but that was always going to happen. That's part of the theatre. And Mason Mount signed up for that. He would have known that. He's gone to Man United. He understands. Not for footballing reasons, though. Tricky, because Ten Hag was playing him in a double pivot, never going to work for me. And of course, Kobbie Mainoo's playing instead of him now, next to Casemiro. And Bruno Fernandes is their captain, starts at number 10. Mason Mount's not going to start there. So it's really, really tough, actually. Frank Lampard even spoken about it on the overlap, I believe, speaking to Gary Neville, saying he didn't really understand that transfer in a footballing sense. Probably confirming the non-footballing reasons we're talking about here, saying, Fernandes, he's not really a deeper player. Because Frank Lampard could play in a double pivot. He said himself he likes to start from deep, but Mountain likes to be further up the pitch. It was a weird transfer. It didn't make sense tactically for me. And maybe he's just gone for financial reasons. He's got a big, big contract there. Look, don't want to see him injured. I actually do want to see him play for United and see how he gets on, We've seen it with Kai Havertz. It was a slow start. Now he's getting the odd goal, and it's interesting to see how they're integrated. Look, they're both good players, Kai Havertz and Mason Mount. Of course they are. That's why they got sold for so much money. But Chelsea saw value in other players to do what jobs they were doing for a lot less money and a lot less wages. And players that were younger that could last longer. And of course we haven't seen that pay dividends yet because it's a sort of, like I said recently, a front-loaded pain front-loaded idea or project. So that might take a while to settle. But it's interesting though. Let me know what you think about Mason Mount and Man United. Of course, he's been injured. Do you think it will work out? Do you think maybe another manager will come into Man United to replace Ten Hag and be like, yeah, Mason Mount's wicked. He's going to be a starter in my midfield in like a 4-3-3 or something. I'll be keen to read your thoughts down in the comments. In the meantime, thank you for liking and subscribing to Football Therapy. I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.